Hello and welcome to a new episode of Nerd News. The Kickstarter campaign for the English translation of my first sci-fi novella, Odyssey the Trappist-1, is getting closer and closer day by day. At the end of this video I'll explain you how you can get the ebook and get your name in the acknowledgement section. This is the Italian version, by the way, it's not the English one. But let's get back to the news. The Brother's Son was cancelled after only one season. I really liked the show and this news made me very sad. The only good thing is that the first season is self-conclusive. There are openings for a possible second season, but the story could very well end there. Since Netflix has a tendency to cancel shows without any warning, perhaps the writers had taken precautions by building a story that made sense with even only a single season. We can now consider it a mini-series, and in my opinion it's worth watching. Michelle Yeoh says in a post on her Instagram profile that she's heartbroken by the news and struggling to understand why. And if she's wondering too, I doubt we'll be able to understand why Netflix cancels certain series and renews others. Critics and audience reviews were great, and the show spent 5 weeks in the top 10. However, the numbers were not considered good enough, and we just have to deal with it. Avatar: The Last Airbender has been renewed for a second and third season, which will wrap up the story as the original did. The plan is to shoot them in quick succession to mitigate the fact that the actors are very young and kids tend to grow up quickly. They don't want to end up with 20 years old actors that play 10 years old characters. The series seemed to be a big hit for Netflix, similar to the One Piece adaptation. However, it reminds me more of another live-action adaptation, Cowboy Bebop. In fact, this live-action series, despite being better than the Shyamalan 2010 film, pales in comparison to the original animated series. The characters are less interesting, some themes are completely missing, and those that are present are faded and less deep. The humor is missing, and the mood is distorted, and it is full of inconsistencies, such as the fact that Aang does not flee from his responsibilities, he does not abandon the Airbenders. Yet he is called a coward by everyone, taking away the complexity of the protagonist and removing his most important inner conflict. I mean, either they didn't understand the series, or they understand it and deliberately decided to change it for the worst. Long story short, the live-action series is beautiful compared to the movie, but a complete disaster compared to the animated one. This live-action makes no sense to me, because the animated series is still there, ready to be watched, as beautiful as the moment it came out. Watch the animated one if you have never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, and watch it again if you have seen it and are considering watching the live action. I'm so sad it turned out this way, because I had high expectation for this adaptation. I really loved the One Piece one, and I thought that maybe they have cracked it, they have found the formula to make live shows adaptations, although the news that I commented in the first Nerd News video had made me a little concerned. I'll leave you a link in the description if you're curious. The truth is one and only one. Live-action adaptations make no sense. Animation is not an inferior art form. Animation is beautiful, especially when done well. There is no need for a live-action adaptation. In fact, it's a bit disrespectful to animation as a medium, as an art form. So please stop. Or just an idea, try to make an animated adaptation of a live-action series. I bet it will look better than the other way around. If you want a more detailed comparison between the live-action and the animated series, let me know in the comments, because if you watched the animated one too long ago, believe me, you won't realize how much better the animated one is written. You have to compare both to see how better the writing was for the animated one, and how nonsense some changes are. So let me know in the comments. The Jurassic World franchise will get a new movie on July the 2nd, 2025, and it will be a reboot directed by Gareth Edwards, in which neither the main character from Jurassic World, neither the character from Jurassic Park trilogies will return. Thankfully, no more nostalgia operations that later turns out to be trashy and disrespectful of the original material. According to some rumors, the tentative title is Jurassic City, which makes me crack, because Jurassic City is the title of a trashy 2015 movie, a mockbuster released in the wake of the first Jurassic World to use the fame of the brand to make some money with a crappy movie. However, after the Jurassic Park trilogy, which featured John Hammond's park, and the Jurassic World trilogy, which saw dinosaurs spread across the globe, Jurassic City should give us a dimension of where the third incarnation of the franchise wants to go. There were those who speculated it might have an Escape from New York vibe, but this seems to be debunked, and it's so sad. I really want to see Snake Plissken fight dinosaurs. Maybe if this franchise embraces its trashy soul will be better. I don't know. I don't know also because trash done on purpose, it's not the same. It's not the same. If you do trash on purpose, it's not the same. Now, Gareth Edwards as a director. I don't know. His last movie, The Creator, is masterful from a special effects standpoint. Gareth Edwards started his career working as a VFX artist. He's very good at that. The Creator is actually got nominated for an Academy Award. It doesn't won because Godzilla -1 did. I want to see Godzilla -1. However, The Creator was masterful from a VFX standpoint, but it was an unspeakable disaster in terms of story and screen planning and characters. So bad, very bad. If you want me to do a review of that film, just tell me in the comments, because it's so bad I need to talk about it. Going back to Jurassic Park, Jurassic City. What this franchise needs is not better special effects, but a decent story with decent characters. Please focus on the important things, which are also the same things you haven't been able to do since Spielberg and Crichton left the franchise. You have the budget to do great VFX, you have to focus on the story. Then the VFX will be good. You're throwing in so many millions of dollars that the VFX will be good. The story need to be at least decent, cause it wasn't in the full trilogy of Jurassic World. The story was so trash. The only positive note is that the script is written by David Coep, who wrote the script for Jurassic Park with Crichton, and that is good. And he wrote also Jurassic Park The Lost World, and this is meh, but he also wrote the script of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and this is bad, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and this is also bad. So we'll see, we will see what happen. I will certainly follow the development, because when dinosaurs are involved I can't think straight anymore. As I said at the beginning of the video, I'm starting a Kickstarter campaign to translate my very first sci-fi novella. If you like science fiction, this is a story about the crew of a spaceship on a 1000-year journey to a planet to terraform and colonize it. However, due to a collision with an asteroid, half of the crew, 100 people, awoke from cryostasis and had to leave for 1000 years, trapped in the spaceship. The protagonist of this novella is Andrew Cook, the last captain to lead the Endeavour through the black vastness of space. It's a deep and introspective novella that delves into the psychological and sociological consequences of a small population being forced to live in such a condition for a millennia. with an ending that I assure you will shock you. I made many beta readers cry with that ending, and also my mother. I felt kinda guilty. But it was so satisfying to see these people cry. Oh my god, I may be a bad person. All the links are in the description. You can visit the landing page where you can get all the information you need to dive deeper into the characters and into the lore, and also sign up to my mailing list to get the first 3 chapters for free. And you can also follow the Kickstarter pre-launch page to be notified when it goes live. Don't miss it, because through Kickstarter you can get the ebook at a lower price and get your name in the acknowledgement section of the book, which is pretty cool, I think. See you soon and stay dinosaur addicted!